Lords of Apathy, back again. First conversation of the day is the term, the title that I coined, Fight or Flight. And what have I seen that's better for us as black folk in the community? And obviously this is not just, it doesn't just stick to a conversation in regards to black folk, but that's what I speak of. And of course you can give me your own thoughts about that, and you can give me your own thoughts of your own experiences. But when I came up with the topic, fight or flight, what I mean is, should I be fighting to stay in my community and make it the best that it can be? Or should I look at it in regards to flight? Should I make the best of my situation, better my personal circumstances, so I can leave my community and just find another community, better community? And when I say another community, I don't mean find another community of black folk. Find another better circumstances so that I can live a better life, hopefully one day raise my children, leave a legacy. So when I speak of fight or flight, that's what I mean when I say that. And I'll just give you a good example that we had in regards to, let's say, Nipsey Hustle. Nipsey Hustle, a lot of people mourn his death, and I think it was a very sad thing. I'm not going to say that it was tragic, because, in my opinion, my personal opinion, people can agree or disagree. That's what this is about, to get our ideas on things. But I think he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He still repped rolling 60s Crips, but he was a smart businessman. He was doing things within his community, for his community. He had businesses within the community, but that community was a volatile community. And the best example of how he was volatile, he was killed in front of his own store, Marathon store, I believe it was called. He was killed by a rolling 60s Crip, a member of his own gang. But
obviously Nipsey said he wasn't welcome because he was a rat or a snitch.
Yeah, he was told that he was a rat, but what information did Nipsey have on?
Well, I don't know. That was my question. Was he ousted by the gang? Was he accepted by the rest of the gang? Was the rest of the gang on the same page as Nipsey as far as you're done, you're out?
I don't know. I can't speak on that. But when I think of like gang Crips and Bloods, I don't think of it like as an institution where everyone who's coming in is vetted. I don't think of the Crips and Bloods like the KKK.
Why, you think they're vetted?
Well, I think they vet to the point where, you got to be, Christian? You got to be white. You got to hate this certain group. You got to hate this certain group. In regards to, these gangs, do you think you see the same organization?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about the vetting
I'm speaking
process,
off of what I think. So I'm not speaking off any facts or based. Right. And I'm not saying the KKK is way more organized. But when I look at it, I just feel like with the Crips, let's say a dude like Shitty Cuz, which is the dude that took Nipsey Hussle's life, he was a rolling 60s Crip.
Well, I don't know too much about... I understand what you're talking about as far as we either get in or we get out kind of a thing and mentality. But fight or flight comes from a psychology term as far as how you react. Do you react? Do you react and defend, or do you run?
Not do you run. Do you run out of
fear?
No, out of fear, but survival.
Or preservation.
Yeah, preservation of life, survival.
And obviously this is not a defense. I'm not even playing devil's advocate. I'm looking at the psychology of Shitty Cuz or whatever the fuck he called himself. If he was ousted as a rat or a snitch, that was it for him. That was it. What do I do next? What's the next step of preservation to solidify myself somewhere?
Here's the thing. I don't think he was ousted.
The murder.
Oh, the murder,
murdering
to bring him back props.
It brings him somewhere. Maybe not with his own gang, but it brings him something. Maybe. Again, like you, I
I
don't know.
disagree because
So
his gang, the
I'm
Rolling
wondering.
Crips, especially because that's
Maybe that was his
neighborhood,
own
that's where he
thinking,
lived.
right.
Dude, he brought so much tragedy upon his family. I believe two of his cousins got shot. I'm not sure if both died, but one
Right.
died. His younger brother killed himself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, what would be the, and like I said, I don't think there's any psychology behind. I don't think he was
the idea of
intelligent.
this episode is a psychology term, though. Is flight or flight. That comes from like psychology.
Well, it's a
that comes from the study of psychology in college. And
Definitely, definitely. But what
we're focusing on one example.
No,
of
no,
like
but what I'm using
gang
it
life
as,
in LA.
No. That's just one example. But what I'm using fight or flight is it better for me to fight for what I think or what I call my community and work within my community? Or is it better for the flight part in regards to, I can't really say this is my community because there is no community. There's black businesses and whatnot within the community, but it's not like we're all putting together to put the money so that it can recycle within the neighborhood. We're not doing that. I happen to live in this community because the price was good. The price was, housing was cheaper. You know what I'm saying? What do you call that? The value of the land. I forget what you call that, but like in regards to the neighborhoods, this is where like a lot of like my people, they flock to a certain community because just like all ethnic backgrounds do, because there's a lot of their ethnicity there. Like you go to in JP, you see a lot of Dominicans gather around each other. You go to Mattapan, you see a lot of Haitians gather around each other. You go to Dorchester, you see a lot of Vietnamese gather around each other. That's because also they feel like it's a little bit of back home, but it's their community. But once you do better for yourself, you want to venture out into the suburbs. You want to venture out because you want a better.
Not everybody. I think that's a matter of opinion where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because, well, let's look at the double-edged sword here. And I can either be a pawn or I wouldn't say a king, maybe a rook in all this. Right? So you look at places like JP where you said you see Dominicans flocking to each other. But you also see a lot of hipsters and a lot of like left-leaning people, a lot of white left-leaning people go there and they gentrify it. So now you have Spanish minority groups, black minority groups going through other neighborhoods. With people, you want to, me especially, you don't want to just turn it into like college kids living into a certain area.
When you say that, they're not going in there and gentrifying. They're finding the opportunity. Big businesses, the area, developers, they're the ones that deem, okay, this is what we're going to do with the property. We're going to push people out, and then you have a certain group of people that can afford to move in. So when I look at the liberals, I'm not thinking, oh, they're gentrifying the community. No, they're going in where they fit in. Just like you and your wife.
Well,
you're going where you fit in.
Well, yeah.
But now let's not look at it that way. When I say fight or flight, when I say fight, you fight for your community. If your community was or is in bad shape and you want to continuously stay in that community because whatever, you have some sort of investment within the community, or this is where you grew up, whatever it is, but there's a bad element there. There wouldn't be a flight if there wasn't a bad element. There wouldn't be the option of flight if there was a bad element. So is it better? Is it better in my interest for me to stay and try to still big up my community? I got a good friend of mine, Richardson, that he did that for a while. He was in Roxbury, and then the gentrification started to move in, but he still stayed because that was his community. But that's his community. But
shout outs to Richardson for sending my jean jacket to Haiti.
yeah, he said, yeah, we'll never see that.
I'll never see it again.
We'll never see that jean jacket again.
He thought he did me a favor. He thought it was an ugly jacket, but
yeah. But
it's a whole other story.
This is what I'm talking about in regards to fight or flight. Is it worth it me fighting for this neighborhood that I think it's mine and my culture, my people? In regards to, first of all, they came from Haiti into a certain neighborhood. So once they come into that certain neighborhood, they don't make that neighborhood theirs. That's where they are until they can move on to a better situation, a better life. It usually spans out from Mattapan, Dorchester to like possibly Hyde Park or the greater Boston area, and then you spread out to different suburbs. We can use that example of fight or flight for them.
The Irish seems to have a mentality that they make an argument when someone moves up. The Irish in Boston, when someone starts doing better, the Irish do this. They say, so you think you're better than everybody. That's what they do. That's what these Boston Irish people do. You know, and with outrage culture, watch them come after us now. It's just like...
After you.
It's like, yeah, you're still sitting over there in Southie. You clearly didn't use your whiteness to advantage in a white city. And when it comes to Nipsey, if he was going to preach this idea of independent black business, this, that, and the other thing, and he was living in Beverly Hills, wouldn't everybody be like, well, what do you know about being here? You're already rich. You're already gone. This and that. And when it comes to the gang thing, when it comes to the street gang in L.A. and stuff like that, when you watch what you understand about the Irish mob and the Italian mob and all these other people that a lot of gang culture aspires to be, once you're in, there's no getting out, man.
Well, I mean, that's the problem.
How would Nipsey, especially with a camera in front of him and being a celebrity, how do you necessarily get out? How do you get out of a gang?
Well, here's the thing.
So you do the best what you've been given. He's trying to do something good.
Yeah, but he wasn't trying to get out.
Right.
He was repping Rolling 60s to the day that he died.
But was that by force? Like,
no, it's not by force.
How do you denounce him? If he denounced him, wouldn't it still... He died by... he was murdered.
How would that hurt him? How would that hurt him? If he
was
denounced
murdered,
him, someone's going to come and kill him?
Wouldn't they have killed him?
No.
Someone from his own gang killed him anyway.
Yeah,
so if he denounced the gang, could they not have hit him?
Rolling 60s, they're not... What, they're going to go to his mansion and kill him that way?
I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
No. I disagree. I disagree because when I say he had 1 foot in, he had 1 foot out, it's not the fact that, oh, I have 1 foot in because I can't get out of this gang. Right. He believed in the culture. Listen to his music. That's it. He wasn't trying to get out. He was. My thing is, what I respect about him is that he was trying to find a middle ground. Yeah. But you can't find a middle ground in that type of thing because it's a life and death situation. A dude named Shitty Cuz killed him in front of his store that he decided to build in the hood. Which,
remember that thought real quick. I just put the phone in my mouth.
Why you do? I don't know why you did that though.
That was a mistake.
First of all, put it to your ear, right?
Hello? Hello?
I think your phone is in terrible shape. Hello? How are you, my dear? Give me 1 second so you can speak to him.
She's with the FBI. How did she know I was with you?
Unfortunately, man, Nipsey Hustle had a foot in and a foot out. And I respect what he was trying to do, but unfortunately, being around that type of element, there's no guarantees. Like we said, like that, the fact that the Rolling 60s, Crips, they're an institution, they're a gang clique, his own member killed him. He said some disrespectful shit to him in regards to you a snitch. Well, he said what he thought was disrespectful, but was probably the truth. But at the end of the day, that dude with whatever mental issues he's had, whatever jealousy issues he had, he came back, he shot him, he spit on him, kicked him in his head, and then bounced, and now we got no more Nipsey Hustle. You know what I'm saying? Your marathon spot was right in the hood, and you were in the hood. And my thing is, there's so many different ways that you can help your neighborhood, especially the neighborhood that you grew up with. I get that, and I respect that, but having that foot in and foot out situation, I think this was another clear example that flight would have been a way better, would have been a way better outcome than fight. And my apathetic takeaway is that at the end of the day, I got to do for me. If I step out of the neighborhood and I build my own in regards to my family and stuff, then that doesn't mean I got to leave my neighborhood. I can still come back or donate and do things to help the neighborhood. But for me to be in the neighborhood, still back and forth, you still put yourself in that element of risk.
So I'm going to disagree with you on this one, not from a perspective of one way or the other. Where I'm going to disagree with you on this of him having to leave, I'm wondering if it was an option. And again, I want to bring it back to the psychology of it. From Nip's standpoint, we know from... Well, we don't know. We have media. We have gangster movies and hip hop to base this off of. But like when it comes to it, it's like Are you in for life? Are you forced to be in for life? Is there a way out?
He was not forced.
But he did have a celebrity that he may have been able to get out.
He represented
Right.
it. He lived in a house on the hills.
He did live in a house.
He
in
was
the
not
hills?
forced.
That's interesting.
He
then.
wasn't living like
But-
off of Crenshaw and Slauson.
Because it's like, when you see the mafia shit, it's like you're in.
There's-
That's it.
there's
You're into
no-
the end.
The mafia,
But-
the organization of
Yeah.
the mafia, they had politicians and a lot of
Yeah.
different people in their pockets.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Crips and Bloods.
I don't want to go too far off track here, but from the psychology of Shitty Cuz, not to give him any reasoning or anything like that, but it was like, well, Nip approached him from what he saw as a guideline of principles. If you're a rat or a snitch in that world, it's over for you. There's really that's it. It's a wrap. So maybe his way of solidification was, I'm killing this dude.
Solidification to what?
I'm just throwing ideas out there.
I get
Some
it.
of them
I
are
get it.
wild.
I
I
get
don't
it.
know
I get
because
it. My thing
that's
is-
not. I don't know that.
Yeah,
lifestyle, man.
yeah. I mean, and
Neither
I
of
get
us
it.
do.
I get it. I don't know it, but the logical side of me
Yeah.
shows me that at the end of the day, this could have been prevented, not on the side of Shitty Cuz. This could have been prevented on the side of Nipsey Hustle.
Okay.
Fight or flight, which is what I'm bringing this back to. And that's it, pretty much. But we got to talk more about this. This was an interesting conversation.
This was a good one.
Lords of Apathy.